Bonjour et bienvenue. Dans cette vidéo, nous allons aborder notre deuxième grand thème, topic, qui est celui des langues. Donc, je vous invite, comme précédemment, à prendre des notes. Si vous êtes un peu perdu et que ça va un petit peu vite, référez-vous aux mots qui vont apparaître sur le côté et qui vont pouvoir vous donner la structure de l'exposé et certains mots clés également. Alright, so let's begin. Here's a video of presentation of our second topic, which will be language or languages in the plural. This video will be divided into two parts. The first part dealing with the status and the future of English, and the second part being entitled The Curse of Babel, and I will explain later what this expression means. So let's have a look in our first part at the status of the English language and its future today around the world and in English-speaking countries. First of all, you know that languages are not fixed. They change, they evolve, and this is also the case for English, of course. There are already differences in English. There are different accents, in different regions. There are different vocabulary, different way of speaking, depending on the region and also depending on the social class. This is also very true for all languages. There's a strong social aspect to languages. Languages mix too, and this is what we're going to see in a minute. One of the main issues in the status of English today and its future is the status of English and Spanish in the USA. As you may know, there are a lot of people in the USA whose first language, whose native language is not English but Spanish. This is due to Hispanic migration. Hispanic means from Latin America, okay, from South and Central America. So due to this large migration, there are many states in the US where a majority of people have Spanish as their native language. In 1980, for example, there were 11 million Spanish speakers in the US, which represented 5% of the population. To give you an idea, in 2012, there were 38 million, representing 13% of the population, and the projection for 2020 is 40 million, so it keeps growing. There are geographical variations, as you will see on the map. This map dates back from 2000. It's a bit old, but it gives you a rough idea and a visible idea of the geographical variations. As you can see, in the southwest, this is where most Spanish speakers are located in the US due to the proximity to Mexico, of course, but also Spanish speakers are moving across the USA, going north, and states like Dakota or Iowa, where not many where there were not many Spanish speakers in the past, are seeing more and more Hispanic speakers coming around, especially to work in agriculture, for example. So there are geographical variations across the US. In big cities in the US, for example, New York or Los Angeles, those of you who have been there may have noticed that signs on the street and ads, for example, in the subway in New York, are written sometimes in both languages, English and Spanish. In hospitals, for example, also, you have both languages to help the Hispanic population find its way around. So this leads to a number of dialects and variations. This has led, for example, to the rise of what is called Spanglish. Spanglish is a mix between Spanish and English. Okay, you will see a list of vocabulary here, words that have come from this mix of both languages. So the question to ask here is Spanglish a real, proper language? Is it a natural language? Or is it a slang? Or is it a dialect? Okay? So there's a tension here between slang or dialect, proper language. And many people are writing books and articles about that. So you'll have to make your own idea on the topic as well. There's another example still in the US. It's the example of Ebonics. Ebonics is also called African American Vernacular English. Vernacular means that is spoken on an everyday basis, spoken by real people on the street, if you like. It is, as its name suggests, a language spoken by African Americans in the US, and it is vernacular, therefore colloquial in register. Okay, it's not a formal language; it's more a spoken street language, if you like. There's a controversy around Ebonics. Some people say it's a natural language, it's a proper language, that it has come from Creoles and from the times of the slavery, and it has evolved slowly through towards Ebonics. So some people say it's a real language, it's a proper language. Some argue that, on the other hand, it's not a real language, it's merely a street slang. It's not proper in grammar or in vocabulary. For example, you can link this to the status of Creole in the French West Indies. Some people say it's a real language, and some people argue that it's not, it's a slang, it's a street slang. The same tension is at work in Australia, where some Aborigines in regions like Queensland speak a dialect called Murray. And there is the same tension here. Is it a real language, or is it merely improper street slang? Ebonics, if we go back to Ebonics in the US, Ebonics has been taught in underprivileged neighborhoods to help kids learn how to read and write, because Ebonics is their native language. It's the language they speak at home with their parents, with their friends. And so teachers thought that maybe learning how to read and write in this language would help them master these skills more quickly. But some African American associations denounce these practices, and they say that Ebonics, instead of liberating African Americans, stigmatizes them. To those associations, language is power, so you should master the language of the whole community, of the whole country, to be able to be free, to be able to express yourself, to be able to take part in politics, in the social life of the country as a whole. If you want to climb the social ladder, etc., you should fit in and speak the same language as others. For example, they made this poster saying that, what about if Martin Luther King spoke Ebonics? Would he have been taken seriously by the white elite? Would he have had such a large impact, a political impact, if he had spoken the language of the street, so to speak? So this is it for our first part, the status and the future of English. I'll see you in the next video on the Curse of Babel. Bye!